So of course, rookie mistake, I started talking and I did not even turn on my mic. So let's see if I can pull that back together and share what I shared before. My intention for this podcast episode is to be of the highest service that I can be to anyone and everyone listening. I pray that you receive exactly what it is that you need from this episode, whether it is just a sentence that kind of shifts your perspective or makes you feel a bit better about your situation. I pray that you receive exactly what it is that you need. And even if that's just like feeling like you're not alone, or there's hope in your situation, then I hope that you receive that. So, yeah. Take 2. This is Aligning on My Time. My name is Naomi Sarah. I am your host, and I am a mindset and alignment guide. I love to help people really just come home to themselves and to find their own strength, their own authenticity, find themselves again, really. And this podcast is all about that. We are going to be diving deep into all things spiritual, all things healing, all things alignment. So mindset, human design, astrology, spirituality, just everything that helps us on our healing journey. I might have some guests, I might not, who knows? This is a place of shifting and just being okay with the change and allowing what is ready to come through always. So I hope that you enjoy. I hope that you receive every single thing that you need from this podcast. It will be fun. It will be insightful. It will be deep. It will be everything it needs to be. And I am so glad to have you here. So welcome back to Aligning on My Time. My name is Naomi Sarah. I will be your guide for this episode, your host. We are going to talk all about a few things that have been on my mind recently. And I hope that you receive what it is that you need. So I'm going to take a moment and just come into my body, come into the space, because I feel a bit scattered right now. I did record a few episodes a few months ago, and I feel like since I recorded those episodes and where I am right now has shifted a lot. I feel like I'm always shifting. I feel like things are moving so fast, even over these past 4 years where it's been so much, unlearning, so much learning, so much releasing, so much just being and being okay with where I am, even in the stillness, even in the unknown, even in the fear and the change. And I feel like right now I'm about to go through another big change in my life where my partner is going to move in. And honestly, it's been bringing up a lot of emotions for me. This is literally the best relationship I've ever been in my entire life. I feel so blessed to be with my partner, and the way that he just supports me, that he just showers me in love and just unconditional support is everything that I had prayed for. I have, I actually wrote all about the type of relationship that I've wanted the summer before I met him. And it's funny looking back at that now, because it was 3-4 pages long of what I wanted in my partner, what I wanted in a relationship. And he's literally everything that I wrote down. And yeah, so, I'm not afraid of us moving forward in our relationship, but what kind of brings up the emotions is, what's still living in my body about what I experienced before. So I was in a long-term relationship like 5 years ago. That relationship lasted for 11 years. I was engaged in like everything. We were living together for about 5 years. And then, I found out that he was cheating on me. And he had been cheating on me for 5 years, pretty much like since we moved in together. That's when he started cheating. So for me, even just saying that and like hearing myself talk about my past experience, it makes a lot of sense why I'm feeling a lot of fear. Why these feelings are coming up again, even though I felt like I dealt with them, even though, I did a lot of work on myself to get to a place where I felt okay, where I felt happy, where I felt like I could trust again and love someone again and let them into my life again. And of course, you're always going to go through things. No matter how much you think you've healed from a relationship, you have to give yourself time. You have to give yourself grace. So that's where I'm at right now. And just like giving myself that grace and feeling these feelings when they're coming up, writing them out, getting them, like processing them instead of just shoving them down and just being like, oh, well, things are different now. It's not going to be the same. It's like, well, why is this even coming up? Just being curious with it and asking myself these questions, like, why is this scaring me so much? What am I afraid of? What am I afraid is going to happen this time? And how can I let that go? How can I show myself that grace and like accept myself even in this fear and move forward, knowing that just because something happened, in a way that it did before, doesn't mean it has to happen that way again. And giving my partner the opportunity to pleasantly surprise me. Like, who knows, maybe this could be the best thing for our relationship. And like, honestly, I kind of feel like it is deep down. Like, I know that us living together will bring us to an even deeper connection, right? Where now it's like we can't really go back home. We don't really have the space to take a break when we've had too much of each other. We're going to have to learn new ways to coexist and to, support each other in all times and all emotions and all parts of ourselves. And this is where we're really going to see each other, So, all that to say, today's episode is going to be about fear and moving through it and, not even knowing what to do, but just having some tools to move through the fear and not let it stop you, not let it paralyze you in where you are, and allowing it to fuel you and allow a different outcome, a different possibility for yourself. So, yeah, I feel like that was a really big intro into this topic. Honestly, fear has been something that has impacted me in my entire life. I have been letting fear stop me from doing so much, from taking chances, from starting new things, from ending things. And it's only in the last few years that I've started to lean into fear and, give life the chance to prove me wrong. I feel like we get so stuck in our minds so often where we might have had something happen to us before and we allow that experience to kind of tell us how things are going to be going forward. But one of the best lessons that I learned recently as I was studying A Course in Miracles is that what the future holds literally does not even exist. Everything that we think is going to happen is literally just based off of our previous experience, which right now is a memory, right? Like all we really have is this moment. But we get so caught up in focusing on what's going to happen based off of what has happened that we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to shift that, to say, well, just because it happened this way doesn't mean it has to happen that way again. We have so much power over our lives, over where we are going. And we let that power just like fall to the side so often because we are traumatized. We are so afraid that bad things are going to happen again, that, bad things always happen to us. We have so many ways that we shape our future without even knowing it. I am a huge believer that we really need to be careful with the words that we speak, with what we say about our lives, with what we say about ourselves. Because to me, words are spells. What we say is affirming over who we are, over, what we see for ourselves, what we think is possible. And when we're constantly just fed all this stuff from social media, from our parents, from school, from work, it can make it really hard to think that things can be different for us, or that we can choose different for ourselves. So I feel like my mission for myself is just to disconnect from every single thing that told me that I can do something, that I should be afraid of like going after what I want, and just showing myself what's actually possible. And I'm kind of over letting the fear stop me. For a long time, I was afraid of even being seen, of being heard. Where I had my lesson in that was in my job. So a few years ago, I was working on this team, and it was very, very small. It was literally like myself and an acting manager. And I had the opportunity to go on French training. So my manager at the time hired someone to replace me, and we also got a supervisor on the team. So like the team was a bit bigger. And, I had been on the team alone with a student for a few months. I think I was on the team for like, I want to say like 7 or 8 months, and I was just doing everything on my own. I was keeping it afloat. I was pretty much the supervisor. I was like everything on that team. And so long story short, there was an opportunity to act as a supervisor. And because I was going on French, the way that the manager had like explained it to me was like, okay, well, this is what's happening. I don't want to take this opportunity away from you. So we're going to, have this person who was brought on to replace you pretty much while you were on training to be the acting supervisor. And me knowing that like, okay, well, I'm only going to be in training for, a set period of time. So when I'm back, I expect the same opportunity. And my manager was like, yeah, of course. Like as soon as you're done your training, I'll give you the same opportunity. Fast forward, I pass my French exam. I get everything that I needed. And I see that this person had been extended instead of me getting this opportunity to act, as the person with the experience. And at that moment, I was like, okay, so what am I going to do? Because usually when I'm in a job and I'm feeling like unappreciated and unheard and unseen, what do? I just find another job and I leave. But for some reason, I was like, they know that what they're doing is wrong. I know that what they're doing is wrong. And, I'm not just going to walk away and just let them continue doing what they're doing. I had to make a choice, to make a decision about whether I was going to raise this and make it an actual issue and file a complaint, or if I'm just gonna walk away and just pretend like it never happened and just be resentful and angry and just carry that energy with me. So for the first time, I decided to, make a choice, even though I was afraid and I didn't know what would happen after. I just knew it was the right thing to do. So I filed a complaint. And of course, it was the most uncomfortable, the most emotionally draining experience I've ever had working, in this place. And I ended up dropping it, honestly, because my manager decided to try and make this into like a discrimination thing where I was, accusing her of racism or like discrimination, whatever. And I was like, wow, okay, so this is how you're going to do this. You're going to... Anyways, it was just ridiculous. And I felt like I made my point by even raising this and asking for the specific documents to prove that, this wasn't done in the way that it should have been. And of course, they did not produce a fraction of the documents I requested, which makes me, kind of solidifies that I knew I was right. But I was like, okay, you know what? You did something that you were kind of like afraid to do. You spoke up for yourself. And, maybe that's enough. Maybe this is all you need, is to be heard and to voice your concern and to speak up for yourself and to show people that, you can't take advantage of people who are trying to just do the best thing for the company, right? And yeah, I felt like, okay, I proved my point. It is what it is. I'm just gonna drop this and I'm gonna leave. Because now I feel, okay. Now I feel like I can leave and I can feel good about what I did. And to know that, they know that they messed up. So that was like one of the first times I had to move through the fear, move with the fear. And I had to really decide what I wanted to do for myself, not for anyone else, but only for me. And I just remember like that summer, it was in February. That winter, I went to Mexico for my birthday. And I just remember sitting on the beach on my birthday and thinking, like, what is it that I want to do? Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? What do I want to feel like I brought into the space, that I accomplished, that I shared, that I was of service doing? And I knew that in the grand scheme of things, like, that complaint was not for them, it was for me. I knew that that was the first step in me beginning to speak up, beginning to use my voice and really heal my throat chakra wounds and my blockages. And I made the decision right there that that's what I was going to do. So I know it's hard sometimes to do things that we're afraid of, but I want you to just think about, who are you really doing this for? If you move forward with this decision, even if you're afraid, are you going to feel more empowered afterwards? What is it that you are really shifting? Are you just doing it to prove a point to someone else? Or are you doing this for you? Sometimes we just need to be a bit curious about the reasoning behind why we do what we do and what the fear is trying to stop us from. A lot of the times, fear is just trying to stop us from doing something different because we don't know what's on the other side, because it's more comfortable to just be where we are because we know what is happening. We can predict what's going to happen, and it's comfortable to just be in that cycle. But I don't know about you, but I get really like tired of the predictability sometimes. And I'm just like, okay, what's next? Why is this continuing to happen to me? What am I missing here? Where am I afraid to do something different? And it's usually in that place where you're afraid to do something different that, that is the key. That is like the leaping off point of the edge. You're leaping off into the unknown, and you're really leaning into that trust that you will be okay. I'm telling you right now, you will be okay. As long as you are moving in a way that like feels aligned for you, then you'll be okay. You'll be taken care of. You'll be supported. Whatever you need will show up. But if you're moving in a way that feels like pressure, like there's resistance, then maybe take a step back. Take a step back, slow down, and just, feel into that moment, feel into where you are, and notice what is making you feel that resistance. What is making you feel uneasy? And just be curious about that. So I just want you to know that fear is always going to be there. Okay, like life is not life without fear. Fear is there to protect us, really. It is ingrained in our bodies. Sometimes it's even passed down generationally, where, we might be experiencing fear and not really understanding why, but it's from our grandparents, it's from our ancestors, it's from our lineage, and we can't let it stop us. A lot of the times, it's really just fear of change, fear of something being different, of new possibilities. I used to be so afraid of things going right. We always expect things to go wrong, so that feels a bit more comfortable. But what if things really take off for me? What if my business really does well? What if I end up being where I see myself being as a successful entrepreneur, as a successful business owner, as someone who is responsible solely for myself, and I can't rely on, a regular job to be paying me every 2 weeks with this somewhat predictable salary. There's fear in that too, where it's like, okay, I kind of feel like this is all on my shoulders, but even in that, it is remembering that we're not alone, that we do have our ancestors, that we do have God, we have the universe, we have so much trying to support us, wanting to be there for us. But we have to remember that all of that is available, that we can be taken care of the way that we want to. We just have to allow it. We have to trust it. And again, we just have to move with the fear. I used to say, oh, I want to release the fear of being seen. I want to release the fear of like this and that. But I feel like the fear is necessary. Okay, because I feel like that makes me realize that there's a deeper reason behind the things that I want. Because if it was just simple, if it was just like an everyday thing, then there wouldn't be the fear. I wouldn't be so afraid to show up, so afraid to post whatever it is that I want to post online, to do this podcast and to actually upload it and to go through this entire process and then have it out there and give people that I don't even know the opportunity to, listen to me and to have their own opinions about me. That has stopped me a lot, and I'm sure it's stopped some of you too from doing what it is that you really want to do, because you're afraid of what other people are going to say. You're afraid of how they will receive you. But, an amazing coach that I've worked with, Chelsea Joe, she says, like, people can only receive you as much as they're able to receive themselves. And now I'm going to get a bit into human design, but I'm a 5/1 ego manifester. And even as a 5/1, I receive a lot of projections. A lot of my chart is projected. So I often have people looking at me and thinking that they know who I am. They think they know all about me. They think they know, but it's being okay with that and really getting to know and understand and trust myself, and knowing that regardless of what other people are projecting on me, of what they're receiving from me, that is going to be based off of their own experiences, off of their beliefs, off of what they have gone through in their lives. That really has nothing to do with me. My job, my responsibility is to show up and share what is true, what is on my heart, what is coming out of my mouth, and allow it to be received however it is, because I trust that whatever you receive from me is what you needed. And whether you listen to me for the first time or, you've listened to this many times, you might get something different from each time that you hear it. Okay. That often happens to me where I'll listen to an audiobook. Like, for example, Think and Grow Rich. Okay. I've listened to that book maybe like 10 times now. And each time I get something different from it. Or even The Game of Life and How to Play It. That's another one where each time I listen to it, I receive something different. I understand on a deeper level, because as I am moving through life, I am uncovering things, I'm releasing things, I am cementing my own beliefs, and also knowing that these can shift, that these are going to be ever changing, and that's just how life is going to be for me, So yeah, don't let fear stop you. And if the fear is coming, then just be curious with it and see what is trying to protect you from, and whether that is something coming from you, or whether it is a belief, or a projection from someone else, or if it's something that's outdated and is just ready to be cleared. Honestly, just come at everything with a bit of curiosity and a bit of play, and move with it. Trust that if it's showing up for you, then it's ready to be looked at, okay? And if you need help, ask for help. Even just say it out loud, like, God, I don't know what to do. I need your help. Universe, I don't know what to do. I'm so lost. Please guide me. Please walk with me. Please show me what it is that I need to know. Please show me the way. Let your heart talk. Just speak and see what comes out. And I think I'm going to leave it here for today. So I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. Come follow me on Instagram at Naomi Sarah. Let me know what you thought. Yeah, I'm just really excited to start doing this more often and actually following through with it. And letting what's ready to be released, what's ready to be shared. So again, this is Aligning on My Time. I am Naomi Sarah, and I will talk to you next time.